Here we are again. Welcome back to our channel, where we try to bring you the truth about ourselves, the universe, the world, and we also talk about trends going on today, especially on YouTube and other social media. I just listened to a little bit of a clip about a discussion between Jimmy Dore and Cornell West, talking about the mandates and vaccines when it came to COVID. It was a very interesting discussion, but one thing it was, I think, was an attempt to rewrite history. There was a story, a book called 1984, where this person's job was to rewrite history. He'd go through all of the library files and things like that, and he looked at history, and whatever didn't fit the power people's opinion would be redacted, cut out, and reposted as something else. I think that's something that has happened today. It's happening right now, and it's something that we really have to be careful of. You see, a long time ago, it took 10, 20, 30 years for people to rewrite history and to erase all of the crimes and the stupidity. But nowadays, people are trying to do it real time because of social media. The truth is that, as many of us remember who were around during that time of COVID when it peaked, truth is that more than 1 million people died from COVID before they created those vaccines. During the Trump era, where Trump didn't do anything about it, when Trump said that the disease would disappear when the summer came, when it got hot. So millions and millions of people in nursing homes and in hospitals and all over the country were dying. People running all over the place trying to find masks to protect themselves. There was a shipment going up to Boston. Donald Trump had FEMA intercept those masks and take them because it was going to a Democratic city. The governor of Maryland was married to a woman who was Korean, had her order masks and send them in through the back door from Korea because she couldn't get anything from the United States and they couldn't get anything from the United States. And the United States was actually stealing masks when they came in. The ones going to the Democratic areas and the areas where there were a lot of black people, allowing these people to die. I was there. I watched it. I remembered it. And I remember when they had the lockdown, when they shut down a lot of jobs. I was one of them who got shut down for a while. And I remember that my unemployment checks were bigger than my paychecks. For the first time, you see, unemployment was giving people a wage of $15 an hour, and most people weren't even making that at their regular jobs. And then an argument came up with the super rich because they got angry that people were getting more money than they would working. So all of a sudden they shut down. They stopped the lockdown too early. Sent people back to work before the vaccine was invented with masks. The mask helped, but more people died from COVID until the vaccine, which really helped not totally get rid of it, but to decrease the severity of it. So the Biden administration actually saved the lives of 1 million, while Trump and his administration allowed us to die in the streets. So let's not try to rewrite history and say that lockdowns and wearing masks caused the virus to spread. First of all, it doesn't even make sense. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. Anybody sitting in a back room and even talking about a common cold will show you that a person sitting in the back room by themselves or wearing a mask outside so they don't cough on people, that does not increase the possibility of the people they're not in contact with getting the cold. So let's start thinking again. Let's not let them rewrite history. They're tricksters. They're liars. They only want to be funded by people who agree with this, because as long as they can bring this up and as long as they can keep us not using those masks and not being afraid, we'll be going out into the world working in the midst of COVID. And their theory about reality will happen. All of this is about something called Darwinism. The Darwinian idea that only the strong and the best survive, and the ones who don't survive are not meant to. It's about thinning out the human race to create a superior race. It's called a Malthusian philosophy. This philosophy says that it is good that the weak should die out. They say it's not good to have birth control. It's not good to do that, or to control how many people are born, because you might filter out some of the superior beings. They said what is best is for people to die from things like famine, war, and diseases. And then all will be left will be the superior human race. This ideology is, of course, what Hitler tapped into. That which caused World War II and all of the white supremacist movements from then until now. All of the colonial movements. And it's still here. That is the shame of it. It's put in new clothing, has new window dressing, but it's the same hate-filled understanding of the world, that those who cannot stand up for themselves or who are weak or infirmed need to die without us caring one bit for them. It's a very demonic way of seeing the world, a hateful way. And that is the world we live in. So I would suggest that as we watch these videos where they're talking about how bad these mandates were and all of that, we consider the Malthusian idea and apply it to what they're saying. If you disagree with what I'm saying, that's fine. I don't expect you to agree with what I'm saying to you. What I would like you to do, though, is to test it. See if it's true. Look at the idea of Darwinism, which became social Darwinism, which said that the people who were rich and powerful deserved to be because they were superior and everyone else was inferior. Add that to that Malthusian way of being, saying that it's good for the weak to die out, to starve, to die from illnesses, because the superior race, the superior human race, that is, will prosper more. Think of those things as you watch these videos about the mandates and vaccines. Look at it through that lens, and you can see if what I'm saying is true or not. So there was this big battle between Jimmy Dore and Cornell West, where Jimmy Dore was talking about being against all of these mandates. And a lot of the business people were, because it hurt their pockets. They didn't care about people dying. They didn't care about people losing their lives. They didn't care about the sickness, the brokenness, the intubation, people having to jam tubes down people's throat as they suffered and died alone in back rooms because they probably didn't lose anyone. They didn't care because they wanted the money. And the lockdowns ended early because this economy wanted the money. When you begin to see this and understand this, you will realize that it's all about profit, all about money. And we all are expendable, but only as long as we listen to these lies that are put forward by people who are claiming to be our friends and be helpful, but who are only looking to have their pockets padded, to have a better life for themselves. While all of us, the children of the divine, the bright lights, the ones who care more about others than ourselves, too much sometimes, suffer trying to make this world a beautiful place. Jimmy Dore and people like him can talk all they want to, but no one has to listen. And when you listen to them next time, I would suggest that you use the same lens that I was just talking about. Social Darwinism and the Malthusian Theory of human evolution. And when you do this, leave a few comments. Let me know what you think. As I said, I'm not trying to force you into believing anything. I just want you to have the tools to know the truth. Thanks for being here. Thanks for daring to want to live in truth, no matter how harmful or painful it may seem. And thanks for being you, for we are the ones who work together to make this world better. Namaste, folks.